Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, madam. Yes, yes.
Yeah. A very warm good morning to all and welcome back to the 8th Alumni Power Talk with a topic Decentralized to Clinical Trial and Career Scope in the UK. I feel you have been eagerly waiting for this event, but the wait is over. I, Mrs. Amrapali Meskar, Assistant Professor, Department of Pharmacology, R.C. Patel, Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, Shirpur, that is RCPI for Shirpur. I am honored to have the opportunity to extend a warm welcome to all of you again on behalf of Department of Pharmacology and Pharmacy Practice at RCPI for Shirpur. I welcome all the dignitaries present for this event. I welcome our guest alumni and the resource person for today's alumni board talk, respected Dr. Jagdish Mahale Sir. I welcome Honorable Principal Sir Dr. S.J. Surana Sir, Vice Principal Dr. A.A. Shekharkar Sir, Dr. N.G. Haswani Sir, Principal RCP IOP, respected Dr. C.R. Patil Sir, Head of Pharmacology Department, and Dr. Mrs. S.C. Patil Ma'am, Head of Pharmacy Practice Department. I, Mrs. Amrapali, and Mr. Ansari Sir, we both coordinators of today's alumni talk, welcoming you, all the faculty members, students, and the participants who have joined us globally. A very warm welcome to all of you present here for the 8th Alumni Power Talk series organized by Pharmacology and Pharmacy Practice Department at RCPI for Shirpur. I admire the concept presented in the Alumni Power Talk series as they build a unique connection between the alumni and the students at present. Now, I would like to request respected Dr. A.A. Shekharkar Sir, Vice Principal RCP IPER Shirpur, please enlighten the students and the participants with our institutional highlights. Please, sir. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Maiskar madam. At the outset, I welcome today's eminent speaker and our the illustrious alumni, Dr. Jagdish Mahale, on the virtual platform. It's a great honor for us to be connected with Dr. Jagdish from London. Other members on that of the virtual dais, Dr. Surana sir, Dr. C.R. Patil sir, Dr. S.D. Patil madam, Amrapali madam, and Imtiaz sir, and all dear participants and students. I am here to speak, give some highlights about the Institute 1, R.C. Patel Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Research. Established way back in 1992, the institute started under the aegis of Shirpur Education Society. Presently, we are having the B Farm course, the M Farm in 10 different disciplines, PhD programs, and MBA programs are also available, BTech Cosmetics and MTech Cosmetics. Along with that, this is what the I can say the development of the institute related to that of the starting the different programs. But beyond that, we think about the quality, and this institute has been accredited by National Board of Accreditation for the full period of 6 years, and it has also been accredited by NAC in the second cycle with A grade, and in the NRF we are bagging the top 50 colleges in pharmacy from NRF ranking, and presently UGC has conferred this institute the status of autonomous one. Along with that, the faculty members, 75 plus faculty members are working in the institute. More than 1,000 publications are to the credit of the institute. 50 research patents have been filed by that of the different faculties and the students, and hundreds of books and book chapters published by that of the institute one, the faculties and the students. Beyond that, the faculty and the student could bring the research grant from that of the different funding agencies, including of 15 crores. So we are proud that our alumni have been posted in the different prestigious universities and different industries one, where they are performing wonderful job and contributing for the development of the science and pharmaceutical, the industries one and the researchers. On the behalf of this organization, RC Patel Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, once again I welcome Dr. Jagdish Mahale, who is the illustrious alumni of RC Piper Department of Pharmacology and Clinical Practice, and hope this talk will be the beneficial to our students and all the participants who are on that of the virtual platform. Thank you, madam. Thank you, and welcome to one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We express our gratitude to you, sir, for providing institutional highlights to our participants and extending a warm welcome to them. Thank you, sir. The historical records of our institution reflects a notable academic and the research achievements of the institute, as well as the consistent advancement of the students. This alumni series builds a unique educational and the industrial connections between the former students and the individuals pursuing the undergraduate and the postgraduate students, or undergraduate and postgraduate degrees. Now, we are proceeding with today's alumni Dr. Talk by the Dr. Jagdish Mahale Sir. I take great pride and I am delighted to introduce all of you a highly competent person who has achieved a remarkable glory in the field of medical science. He has completed his Bachelor of Pharmacy during the year 2005 to 2009 from the University of Pune, India. He has completed his Master of Pharmacy in Pharmacology from RCP Iper Shirpur. And he got the Dean's Award for the best thesis during the year 2009 to 2011 from the North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon, India. He has completed his PhD in Cancer Studies and Molecular Medicine during the year 2012-2016 from the University of Leicester, UK. Earlier, he was Clinical Research Coordinator during the year May 2011 to December 2011 at Shatabdi Hospital, Nasik, India. He also worked as a Drug Safety Associate during the year January 2012 to the August 2012 from the Tata Consultancy Services, Mumbai, India. He was Research Assistant during the year December 2016 to October 2018 and postdoctoral researcher or a lab manager during the year of November 2018 to March 2022 from the University of Oxford, UK. He receives the prestigious Cancer Immunology Project Award from the Cancer Research. He was a result-oriented professional with a 10+ year of experience in managing clinical and the preclinical projects. Currently, he is delivering his service as a clinical trial manager at Medbase in London, UK. He has thoroughly knowledge of good clinical practice and the drug development process. Also, he adept at the building and fostering peer-to-peer relationship while working in a cross-cultural team. He has a strong interpersonal and organizational skill with a proven ability to deliver project. Being an excellent, Dr. Jagdish Sir interact with our departments of pharmacology and pharmacy practice department. I am optimistic that Dr. Jagdish Sir will shed light on the job opportunities available in the UK, which can help UG and the PG students in making informed decisions regarding their career directions. With this brief note of our Department of Pharmacology and Pharmacy Practice, I invite Dr. Jagdish Mahale Sir to proceed with his lecture on the topic Decentralized Clinical Trial and Career Scope in the UK. Please, sir. Over to you.
Uh, Thank you very much for this warm welcome. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Shirkitkar sir, for inviting me. Thank you, Patil ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to present. It's great to be back, meeting all the students virtually, and I hope I can give some knowledge to you on these new types of clinical trials that are still in process of development, but I think this is the next this is the next big thing in clinical trials. I think this is how the clinical trials will be conducted in the future. And also I will give a brief talk of career scope in UK. I'll majorly talk on clinical trials, but also overall what are the different opportunities that you can have uh, coming over to UK. So I'll just start my presentation. So with regards to clinical trials, I'm sure all of you are aware of what clinical trials are. So I won't go into that detail, but obviously clinical trials are done in human participants, human volunteers, and one of the biggest challenge in clinical trials, actually, if you know, is getting the patients into the clinical trials, making them understand the importance of the trial, and then again having those recruitment into the trial is one of the biggest challenge. And you may be surprised that 15 to 20% of the clinical trials fail because they're not even able to enroll even a single patient. This can be due to numerous factors, and I will discuss this in the slide later on. For example, in the UK, 55 to 66% of clinical trials have failed to achieve their randomization number. So, as you can imagine, it's quite a big number, and there are serious recruitment delays because of this failure to recruitment, and it can cost companies millions of dollars for a delay in each and every day. Uh, so moving on, so what are the challenges in recruitment? So I've divided these challenges in patient recruitment into three parts. There can be patient related factors, the principal investigator himself who is conducting the clinical trials, that those can be a factor, or they can be trial related factors. And just going them one by one individually, and I think from today's talks perspective, I think the patient related factors are one of the most critical factors, I would say. uh, is lack of awareness of the clinical trials. Sometimes patients are suffering from particular disease. There are no new treatments available, or there are no treatments available, but sometimes the patient are simply not aware that there are treatments available in clinical trials, and for this reason they are not able to participate in the clinical trials. uh, as you may know, clinical trials involves a lot of appointments, a lot of follow-up visits, uh, and this can take up a lot of patient time. So this is one of the reasons patients don't want to get involved in a clinical trial, because of the time commitment. uh, Patient preference to a particular treatment. Sometimes a treatment is available, but due to various factors such as convenience, side effects, lack of knowledge, patients do not want to go for a particular treatment. Sometimes when they just hear the word clinical trial, with clinical trials, there's a lot of uncertainty, so they don't want to, and they might want to go for a treatment that's already available in the market. Again, as I said, there is uncertainty, and when I say uncertainty, is about the side effects, loss, because these are still in early phases of development. So a lot of these drugs will have a lot of side effects as well, which we are not yet aware of, and that's one of the problem that we think is an hindrance for patient enrollment. Provision of appropriate information to the patient, sometimes not complete idea, not complete information about the trial is provided to the patients, and that's why it can cause delays as well. And some of these not so important for today's talk, but still important to highlight what can be the challenges in recruitment. Investigator related, that is the doctor who is running the clinical trial. There can be time pressure, lack of adequate training and research experience, lack of support staff that are required at the hospital, concerns towards the patient that there might be too many side effects and the patient won't be able to tolerate the treatment. Uh, Again, trial related reasons can be the design of the clinical trial itself is very complicated, so the patients and the doctors, they want to stay away from such type of clinical trials. um, Again, importance of research question: what's the endpoint, what's the primary endpoint, what's the secondary endpoint of the clinical trial? And sometimes the investigators feel uh, it's not that important of a clinical trial, so they might not still participate in the trial. Therapeutic area, is it an exciting therapeutic area for the principal investigator? And again, a study budget. A study budget is a big thing, and just depending on the budget, is the budget good enough to conduct the clinical trial? So yeah, there are a lot of things that we can talk about, but I think today's presentation is a lot of to related to patient-centric issues. Moving on to traditional strategies. So when recruitment or enrollment happens in a clinical trial, uh, there are a lot of strategies that are involved. And I started as my career as a clinical research coordinator at Shatabdi Hospital in Nasik. I think the most common way was physician referrals. I think depending on government to government and the regulatory permissions that each government allows. I think social media campaigns directly reaching out to patients via telecommunication, phone, or letters, or either way. Sometimes these are not allowed, and in some countries these are allowed. But I think I would still say the most common way of recruiting patients into clinical trial is when the patient comes and visits the doctor, and then the doctor tells them, there is a new treatment that is potentially available, and would you like to be enrolled into the study? So I think that's still one of the most common methods of enrolling patients into the trial. uh, Moving on from conventional strategies, the novel strategies that people are using is social media campaigns. Again, as I said, the policies regarding using social media to recruit patients into clinical trials, they differ from country to country. So, but yes, these are being used these days. As you can see, on phones, you talk about something and you start seeing advertisement about those things, or those results start appearing in your when you browse. So you can have this targeted. The moment you search a keyword related to that disease, you can start seeing those clinical trial related information when you just start browsing or just go online. uh, Real world evidence, it's a whole lot of interesting topic where machine learning and artificial intelligence is being combined, and all the data that is already available online through the medical records of the patients, and that data can be collected centrally, and with the use of machine learning and AI, that data can be used to define a patient population, what treatment they have been responding to, what treatment might be helpful. So real world evidence is just going through a lot of medical records, analyzing those existing medical records, and that can help you design your clinical trials, identify a patient pool, and then reach out to those patients for potential clinical trials. Pharmacogenetics is, again, as you know, a detailed a genetic analysis of the patient profile, of the disease profile. And once you have that profile, you can just directly go and have a very targeted approach of recruiting those subjects. And coming back to again today's topic is decentralized trials, and they are known by various names: adaptive trials, hybrid trials, or even virtual trials. So conventionally, how the clinical trials are being done, and I think majority of the clinical trials are still being done in a similar fashion, is that the patient, all the procedures related to clinical trials, such as consenting, screening, randomization, dosing, and after dosing, there are several follow-up visits, and after study visits there are closeout visits, and all of this they are done at the hospital. So the patient has to travel to the hospital, and depending how the study is, this travel can depend once a month, twice a month, and just going to this hospital, forget the travel time. Once you go to the hospital, you have to wait quite a lot. Suppose if the trial involves doing CT scan, MRI scan, there is always a wait at the radiology department. So that can put a lot of time commitment from the patient side to participate in the trial. um, Again, dosing, sometimes dosing is as simple as taking an intramuscular or a subcutaneous injection, and there is no other study procedures that might the patient have to do this that day, or just there might be some blood draws, some lab sample collection, but still it can be a 1 hour thing, but still the patient might have to travel 2 hours, 3 hours to get into the hospital. So what I mean to say is, in conventional clinical trials, everything is centered around the hospital staff, and around the availability of doctor at the hospital. So it's quite hospital centric, or I would say. So that's how clinical trials currently uh, being done, majority of them. Uh, so what are decentralized trials? And I think this is the exciting bits that is already happening, and I think things are still being developed, but um, they will continue to develop, because this is such an exciting stuff. This is such an exciting new development. So I think I see a lot of progress happening in terms of decentralized trials in the near future. So I'll just start by e-recruitment. So as I said, mostly recruitment happens via physician referrals face to face, but in decentralized clinical trials, you are allowed to reach out to patients directly. uh, if you have identified patient, you can directly call them. You can send, if you have their contact details such as email and everything in your patient record, you can send them the information about the trial and ask them if the patient is interested in participating in the trial. So again, this one, the patient won't be in the hospital. It's all done remotely. Then remote screening. So when a lot of screening procedures such as blood sampling, that there can be baseline CT scan, ultrasound, a lot of other measurements that need to be taken. So there is a new concept that is being developed, which is called home healthcare. So I mean, there would be a lot of other procedures, study procedures, which you can't do remotely, such as a CT scan or an MRI scan. You will have to go to a facility, but there are certain ones that you can do remotely, such as blood draws, or even a measurement of blood pressure. So these procedures can be done remotely, and there are now home healthcare companies where uh, trained study nurses will come to the patient's house and do all the study procedures. So the travel part is reduced. Reimbursement, a lot of uh, reimbursement today happens is, the patient travels, there is a taxi expense, there is a food expense, the patient will submit the expenses to the hospital with the receipts, and then they will get paid back into their account. So again, this involves a lot of paperwork. What is happening these days is, when the patient is enrolled into the trial, they get a preloaded, like a debit card from the company, from the sponsor, from the pharmaceutical company that's running the trial. Depending on, again, local regulation, sometimes some countries do allow reimbursing patients for participating in the clinical trial, that is giving them some sort of monetary compensation. Plus, if you're traveling, they can cover the expenses for food, travel, everything. So that's a reimbursement. So that's again done electronically. The patient will have an electronically loaded card. E-qualification process, again remotely. Consent form, traditional is you have to go into the hospital, sign a ICF. This again can be done remotely. Patient engagement reminders, instead of someone from the site staff calling to the patient, you have an appointment, have you taken the dose, have you taken the pills, instead of giving reminders by calling patients. These days, what pharma companies and CROs do is develop an app on the phone, and this app can give you notifications. Have you taken your medicine, have you drank enough water, have you, if there is any need for doing any physical exercise, have you done any physical exercise today? So these, again, everything can be done via app, and it's just, I think, works brilliantly. Transportation, again, there are some transport companies that will work with CROs, work with pharma companies, and they will arrange the transport. They will have all the details about your upcoming visits, where you have to go. If there is a CT scan center, MRI center, they will come home, pick you up, wait until all the procedures are done, drop you back. So the patient doesn't have to worry about arranging transport. Again, clinical outcome assessment, ePro. Patients these days can get app, or even if the study budget is high, sometimes they do get tablets or phone, and they can record all these reported outcomes, clinical assessment outcomes, on their phones, and that data can be available easily. Wearables, this is again a big thing happening, such as a smartwatch. If not the ones that we use, but there are some wearable technologies that is being developed to collect the data constantly, like just like a smartwatch that gives you your heart rate, your blood pressure. There are a lot of things that you can just collect on wearable devices, and that data can be collected as it is, as a live feed from the patient. So again, that's very amazing. uh, Customer support. So if there is anything that you would like to talk, there is telemedicine, virtual visits that is available. No need to go to the hospital. Rewards, again, this can be more money rewards, or just a thank you card, or a simple bag, or water bottle, anything. This can be just rewarding patients for their participating in the trial. Lab data, as I said, with home care, uh, companies, there are home healthcare companies, there are trained study nurses that come home, take your blood samples, go. You don't have to do anything. Again, if you need any a caregiver engagement, that is available. So all in all, as you can see, in decentralized clinical trial, the patient is at the heart of the trial. Everything surrounds around the patient, and I think that's the key thing. And as I discussed in my slide earlier, that one of the major reason that clinical trials fail is because they are not able to enroll enough patients. And I think this is a very nice new approach that companies are adopting, and I think this will just again continue to grow. So in short, these in decentralized trials, patient is at the heart of everything. uh, Degree of decentralization. So, as you can see, not all clinical trials can be totally decentralized, but depending on the complexity of the trial, the study procedures, here you can see that I've just put a note that one size does not fit all. And what I'm trying to say that here is all clinical trials cannot be decentralized, but depending on protocol complexity, what study procedures are involved in the protocol, I think you can have a balance of hybrid, or if the protocol allows, a total virtual remote clinical trial. So there would still be, no matter how much progress is done in this field, there would still be trials which are traditional and where the patient will have to visit hospital. But again, just depending on the complexity of the trial, you can have a hybrid or virtual approach on this one. So, advantages of decentralized clinical trials. As I mentioned, faster trial participant recruitment. I think this is one of the major advantage is that once the patient knows, oh, I don't have to come to the hospital every month, everything, I can just sit at home, arrange everything. I think that's amazing for the patient, and um, uh, there are chances of them participating in the clinical trial are much higher. So that's one thing. Improved trial participant retention. So often it would happen is that uh, participant would enroll into the trial. Suppose the trial is for 2 years, and for 2 years the patient has to go into hospital every month. The patient will go for 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, and after that time they don't want to go into the hospital again because it's just too time consuming, and then they drop out of the clinical trial midway. Again, this costs pharma companies a lot of monies. So again, improved trial participant retention is one of the key advantages of having a decentralized clinical trial. um, Greater control, convenience, and comfort. As we talked about, everything can be arranged at home, and the patient doesn't have to travel anywhere, or even if they have to travel, everything can be arranged centrally. So it's just the comfort level, the convenience for the patient itself is brilliant. So this increases their chances of recruitment and retention. uh, Increased participant diversity. And when I say diversity, is this, with this using of technology, you can access patients which are in remote parts. From remote parts, normally you would associate remote parts with uh, who will be less likely be from a lower economic background. So maybe they won't have that access to treatment, and plus because they are from such remote part, they won't come to the cities to participate in the trial. So you can just have increased participant diversity, and you can have participants um, from different backgrounds, from different social backgrounds. So you have different diversity. So these are the advantages of decentralized clinical trials. But having said clinical trials, not everything is rosy when it comes to decentralized clinical trials. And one of the reason that you see a lot of clinical trials are still not fully decentralized is the first reason, the regulatory rules are very complex. Still many of the countries, even in Europe, they won't fully have trials decentralized. There is a lot of regulatory challenges. Again, when you run these decentralized trials on a global scale, there can be a lot of global variability in terms of technology adoption and how the data is collected. Investigator and patient readiness. As you can see, just running a clinical trial virtually itself can be a daunting idea for the investigator, like how is it possible that I won't be able to see my patient on a week by week or on a month by month basis. And again, the fear in the mind of patient, I'm already involved into a clinical trial. The safety, the efficacy of the clinical trial is not yet fully not yet fully known, and still the trial is designed in such a way that I won't be able to see the doctor, or I won't be seeing the doctor on a regular basis. So this can include challenges, endpoint limitations. There are only certain types of clinical trials that you can do virtually or hybrid ways. So there might be some clinical trials in oncology which are quite complex, and the endpoints are quite complex. So those trials you won't be able to do virtually or even hybrid. Hybrid may be possible to a certain extent. So, and also organization culture. Uh, would that hospital allow, even if the PI is ready, what's the culture in adoption of technology? So that's one of the key reasons that there can be challenges for decentralized clinical trials. And major challenge is a regulatory one. I think the rules are quite strict. In so many countries, remote consenting is not allowed. And again, as you know, good clinical practice, how will you ensure compliance? So that's one of the major issues. I won't go into all of these into much detail, but I would say the biggest challenge is a regulatory challenge, having those approvals from all the regulatory authorities, and just convincing the regulatory authorities that this is how we're going to conduct a trial, fully virtual or a partially virtual trial. As you can see from the second last point, data security and privacy, everything is online, and other data breaches are so common these days. So yes, I think once we overcome one of these regulatory hurdles, I think the adoption of decentralized clinical trials would be at a much wider scale. So, just to give a summary of the decentralized clinical trials, I think it's in still early stage, but what pandemic has done last 4 years, when patients were not allowed to go to the hospital and there were strict rules, I think at that time the technology was adopted quickly, as everything in all walks of life, even in decentralized trials there was this acceleration of use of technology, of adapting decentralized process post pandemic. uh, for pharmaceutical companies, actually it can be cheaper and easy to not easy to organize, but just in terms of data collection, it can be very effective. So I think pharmaceutical companies, they are adopting these hybrid trials or decentralized trials. uh, these are all buzzwords, but artificial intelligence and machine learning, and you see this all the you hear this all the time. But I think these are currently playing a major role in analyzing clinical trial data sets. And I think this is just going to boom in identification of patient population, and then how, when once the patients are in clinical trials, how the data would be analyzed. So they are having a huge role in this process. And with this approach, I think doctors in between trial, before the trial, after the trial, can optimize patient treatment using this approach. So there are a lot of advantages. Obviously, I think there are fewer disadvantages, but there are challenges, and as I previously said, there are regulatory challenges associated with decentralized trial. But hopefully, I think that's how the clinical trials will be conducted in the future. um, Moving on to the second part of my topic, what's the clinical trial scope, career scope in UK? How do you progress? And again, what are the challenges for having a career in clinical trials? Because I'm based in UK, so I can speak on behalf of UK, but I think this will apply to a lot of other countries as well. And I think hopefully this last couple of slides will give you some guidance on how to navigate a career in clinical trials. So, in terms of a clinical trial career progression, so just like me, I started my career as a clinical research coordinator at Shatabdi Hospital in Nasik. And I was still interested in doing PhD. I went to do a PhD. I did a postdoc at Oxford, and then again, I thought my like clinical trials or project management was my real calling. So from academia, I moved back to industry, and luckily, because of my previous experience, I was put on a fast track program, and I could become a clinical trial manager within 2 years, or within 1 year. Sorry, but this I'm talking about very standard timelines. But depending on your educational qualification, if you have a PhD, if you have a clinical background, again, these timelines can be accelerated, or you can take even longer. But this is just an overall brief overview. So, yeah, this can vary from country to country as well, actually. So, how do you begin a career in clinical trials? Uh, I've just put these various names: clinical trial coordinator, clinical project coordinator, research coordinator, clinical trial associate, trial assistant. These they all mean nearly one and the same. So, and then sometimes there are progression: senior CTA, CTA 1, 2, 3. So this can take around 2 to 3 years, but I think these are the really your foundational year of having a career in clinical trials, and you learn a lot in these entry level roles, what I would call as. Once you are a clinical trial coordinator or a PC for 2 to 3 years, um, I think the next logical career move is to work as a CRA, which are called clinical research assistant. And if you're familiar with this profile, what CRAs do is monitoring. They go to various hospitals, they check all the patient records, make sure the clinical trial is conducted as per the clinical trial protocol. And this job involves lot of traveling. You can suppose, if you're a CRA in India, you can easily end up traveling all over India, covering sites east, west, north, south, depending how many CRAs you have in the country. But you can easily spend 3 to 4 days a week, 3 days a week, traveling to different hospitals. And it's an amazing job. It's a rewarding job, and again, you get to learn a lot in as a CRA. But if you don't like traveling, maybe this is not something for you. And again, I've just put in various positions as a CRA. So in-house CRA, I think you can directly go in as a fresher as well. If you have no previous experience, you can just go as an in-house CRA. And then progressions from CRA are lead CRA, and these are called again by different name in different countries in different CROs. So you can be a senior CRA, a principal CRA, um, clinical monitoring lead. So you can just call them by different name. And just for correction, I'll just say that this career progression, the path that I'm showing, is from a perspective of a CRO, what we call as a clinical research organization. So these I'm talking from the point of view of CRO, where I'm currently working at MedPace. um, so yeah, just wanted to make that out clear. uh, so yeah, and then once you work as a clinical research assistant for 3 years, 5 years, then you become a clinical trial manager, a clinical trial lead. And then there are these various promotions, progressions. within as a clinical trial manager as well. So you can be a regional clinical trial manager where you just cover a particular country, but as a global clinical trial manager, you will cover all the countries. When I say cover all the countries, there would be regional clinical trials manager reporting to the global trial manager. So these are the career progression when it comes to clinical trial manager. Or you can become a CRA manager. So CRA manager is literally, as the name suggests, will manage all the CRAs. And sometimes, because clinical trial manager, it's quite intense. You have to work with a lot of other departments, you have to work with a lot of other functional areas, and it can be quite intense working as a CTM. And maybe sometimes it's not for you, because it's quite fast paced. So the other career options that people take is that of a CRA manager, where you manage CRAs, their workloads, all the issues they're having at sites. So that's what the CRA managers are. And then again, I won't go into all further details, but after you spend some time as a clinical trial manager, you can become a project director, a program director, or director in clinical monitoring. So there are a lot of different avenues, but as you can see, it's a slow and steady race, right? So all the promotions, everything that come after you have gained certain experience. So you have to be patient. It's a long game, and you just have to spend some time in each and every position, be patient, and that's how you progress. And this is not just for clinical trials, be it any other field, quality, chemistry, CTX, anything. That's how it is. Like, sometimes I see a lot of young people, they get impatient about their career progress, but you have to be patient. You have to stay at one particular position and then go on and progress to next positions. Um, what are the different verticals from a project coordinator? And again, this I'm talking from a CRO perspective because I work in a CRO. So if you join the CRO as an entry level clinical project coordinator or a clinical trial assistant, whatever you want to call it, and once you are in the CRO, you get to work with different functional areas, and these are just some of the functional areas that I have listed. So I would say once you have spent 1 to 2 years in a CRO as a project coordinator, you can make a decision for yourself whether you like it, and whether you want to have a career progression in what I call as a cleanops career. If not cleanops, these are different career verticals, and there are so many opportunities. And I'm not saying that project coordinator is the route that you should go to these career options, but I think a project coordinator role gives you a good overview of all the roles, and then you can decide where you want to go instead of just getting a role directly into regulatory. Maybe you don't like it, but as a project coordinator in a CRO, you can see all this. So I'll just go this one by one. Regulatory team, very exciting, lot of paperwork, a lot of documents. If that's something you enjoy doing, I think regulatory is for you. Feasibility, when I say feasibility, is when a clinical trials come to a CRO, we have to look out which are the sites, which are the hospitals, or doctors that we can reach out to. They can conduct this clinical trial, and there is a separate team for this, which are called a site feasibility team. So you can be a part of that team, where you get to talk to doctors, study nurses, and a lot of hospital managers. uh, Business development. Business development is, as a CRO, you go to various conferences, you go to various expos, business expos, and you reach out to potential pharmaceutical companies that we have all this setup, would you like to do a clinical trials? So this is like more sales and marketing kind of job, or we call it business development. So if that's something into you, it's when we talk about sales and marketing, it's just not being a medical representative. You can be like a business development executive associate in a CRO as well, where you go and find potential customers, sponsors into business development. Proposals is when a pharmaceutical company. They come with you. They will maybe give you a synopsis of the protocol. This is what our clinical trial is, and can you have a proposal? And in a proposal, we tell, okay, this is your therapeutic area. This is where the patient population is. You will have to conduct your clinical trials in this countries. You will need, if this is the number of patients, there will be a short description of your target countries, target hospitals, and also how much it can cost as well. So that's proposals. Other one, clinical data management, again a huge thing, and I see a lot of um, postgraduate, like from pharmacy, going into clinical data management. It's a big thing, and I think there are so many CROs or consultancies, like, I have worked in TCS as well, where there was a big clinical data management team. um, so yeah, Cognizant, TCS, they are like big recruiters in terms of this. Pharmacovigilance, I was in TCS working for Roche Pharma, in Mumbai for good 9-10 months before I started my PhD. So pharmacovigilance again is super exciting, and I know, I think, the career in pharmacovigilance, and there are so many opportunities in India right now for pharmacovigilance, and in UK as well. Imaging technologist, while you're doing your B Farm, M Farm, if, like, imaging is something that excites you, you can have a course done in imaging and become an imaging technologist, and you can then, as in CRO, you can review this uh, images, like, CT scans, MRI scan, X-rays. So you can become an imaging technologist. You can do like a separate course for this. IP management, again, very exciting field. Patient recruitment and retention, this is a very creative field, um, where you design a kind of marketing material. This can be handbook, leaflets, website, just to give patient information about the clinical trial. So this can be very exciting as well if you are a creative person and want to get into, like, science and creativity. If you want to use it together, I think you can go into recruitment and retention. Lab project manager, e-clinical project manager is what I spoke about, e-pros and e-clinical outcome assessments. So you can do that. Lab project manager, so, like, there can be central lab, which you can become a project manager in the lab. Clinical trial supplies, there is a whole lot of logistic operation that goes into clinical trials, supplying IP, supplying auxiliary medications, supplying equipments. So you can become a clinical trial supplies manager as well in clinical trials. Biostatistics, and I will come to that, how pharmacy students can go into clinical trials in as by, even they don't have a background in biostatistics. Bioinformatics is what I talked about, use of real world evidence and pharmaco epigenetics. So if you have a master's, and there are a lot of, I think, colleges that offer bioinformatics degree, so that is something that can be very helpful. Contracts, budgets, negotiations, if that's something your forte, again, you like negotiations, you like numbers, you like the money figures, you can go into contracts and budgets. And finally, medical writing, where you write clinical study reports, final reports. You can be involved in writing clinical trial protocols. So a lot of study, a lot of different career avenues, for a project coordinator in clinical trials, that you can pursue. Some of the courses which I think can be useful for students thinking of pursuing a career in clinical trial, and these is just a few that came to my mind, and I think there are a lot of courses that you can do. And just with a note of caution, I want to say there are a lot of these online websites and a lot of what I can say, bogus colleges or bogus online institutes that give this kind of courses. So please be careful when you're doing this course. Are these a really accredited course? Look for the accreditation. Are they genuine courses? And just don't go for cheap courses. Cheap doesn't necessarily mean good or also expensive doesn't mean they can be reliable. So just do your research when you go for these courses online. But clinical SAS programming, I think this is what I was talking about. Biostatistics is amazing. There is a lot of shortage of SAS programmers uh, in clinical trials in UK, in Europe, in North America. I think if you can get early on, if you like maths, if you like programming, I think you can go into this, and there is really good career scope in SAS programming. If you're a pharmacy student, plus you like mathematics as well, numbers, tables, figures. If you like that, I think this is a really nice career to have. Pharmacovigilance. The reason I suggest an additional course on pharmacovigilance is it's a very vast. It's very extensive. There are so many rules and regulation when it comes to pharmacovigilance, and I think a course on its own does warrant if you want to go into a career in clinical trials, because the rules and is just so vast. So I think it will be good to have an additional course. Project management, as I said, you can become project managers in lab project manager or e-clinical project manager anywhere. These I've just put out some of the project management course that you can do online. Prince 2 and project management professional, I think you do need some kind of industry experience before 2 to 3 years. But if you don't have industry experience, there are some foundation level courses that you can do in and that can replace that industrial experience. But again, these are globally respected project management courses. If you Google project management course, it's amazing. It's slightly expensive, but if you have that on your CV, it's brilliant. And again, same with Prince 2 and PMP. I talked about clinical trial supplies, logistics. It's a big thing in clinical trials for pharmacy, and I think the career in supply chain for pharmacy is amazing. B Farm, you do some courses in supply chain, SAP management, and again, really good career scope in UK and abroad in supply chain management, if backed by good experience and proper qualification. And just overall, I think again, PG diploma in clinical research. If you don't want to go come into clinical trials after your pharmacy, this can be 6 months to 12 months PG diploma. But as I said right at the start, that this diploma, whatever you do, it has to be accredited from a very well known renowned institute. There are a lot of online things that are offering this PG diploma. So please be careful in what course or what institute you select when doing such course, and who are the instructors as well. Generally instructors from industry who have. So do your research and then sign up for these courses. So I think these are the courses I think that can help you or increase your prospects. These, I'm not saying this guarantee you jobs, but just stand out. This will help you stand out in the market and increase your prospects of getting a job in India as well as abroad, in UK, in Europe, anywhere. Just coming back to then opportunities in UK, and then uh, how you can move to UK or anywhere in Europe or abroad. And I know some of the students are thinking of using the education route. Some of the students who don't want to take the education route and directly want to apply. So I'll just describe different scenarios where you can pursue a career in UK anywhere. Entry level jobs. These, if you think you've just finished your master's, bachelor's, and you're applying for jobs, it's not happening. It's a big no. That's why I put a big cross. If you're entry level, please don't apply to any jobs anywhere in the world. No one is going to, because there is local competition, everything. No one is going to give you any opportunities. So entry level jobs is a big no anywhere, not just UK but anywhere. How do people normally move abroad? Like, one of the common thing that I see is intra-company transfer. So you're working for a CRO, suppose an IQVIA or a Cognizant or TCS. You're a very good performer. You have spent 5-7 years in India office, in Mumbai, Hyderabad, wherever. And then if there is what you can say a business demand, a business need for you to be there. And because normally what happens is that you work with a global team, and then you might be working with certain managers who are based in UK, Europe, US, and they might think, oh, you are a good candidate, and like, you, it would be helpful if you come into London office, or like, New York office. So that's how intercompany transfer work. But then you have to stay, um, have a solid performance, because again, these are highly competitive again. Direct visa sponsorship. So when I say for visa sponsorship, if you, some of you may be aware, some of you may not be. So in order to work, you need something called a sponsorship from a pharmaceutical company. And that's the major hurdle here, because what I have seen is the visa sponsorship is applicable only to senior management roles such as director and above. So if you're looking for, as I said, entry level job, and some company in UK you'll give you a visa sponsorship, that's not going to happen. That's applicable only to senior management roles. Again, higher studies is something a lot of students use. After bachelor's they come for masters, or after masters they get some years of work experience, and then they come for another masters. In UK I've seen that quite often, and I think it does work. So what higher studies offer is, if you suppose, if you do uh, a master's degree, you get in UK, you get a 2 years post study work visa, and that 2 years gives you time to find job. And if you find a job, again you have to perform well, and then the company will give you a visa sponsorship. So higher studies is one avenue that you can explore. But just a word of caution, those who are actually thinking, um, uh, it's quite expensive. I have seen students taking huge amount of loans and studying abroad. So again, and sometimes the loans are not payable. So I have seen this a lot. So just be careful. Just be careful of how much money you're going to spend, and be mindful. If you don't get a job, would you be able to repay that loan going back again, because you're paying in euros, you're paying in pounds, you're paying in dollars, and would that loan amount be repayable? So that's one of the things that I think you should think. There are a lot of what you can say as education consultancy that wants to send student abroad, yes, because they get commission for every student they send. But just be careful, because a degree in UK won't doesn't offer a job security. It's And I was just going to my last point is like, it's highly competitive. The competition is immense. The local competition. So out of all, killing the local competition, having visa sponsorship and all those things is, as you can imagine, it's quite competitive. So just wanted to give you that out and loud. Uh, and this I'm talking about clinical trials. And I'm sure there might be some of you who doesn't want to pursue a career in clinical trials who have joined today. I just wanted, and if you want an academic career, I think for academia, the scenario is slightly different. I think in academia, if you have good publications, and when I say good publications, like really high impact factor journal publication, and I'm not talking about one two, I would say at least two, three, four publications, really good high impact journals. When you get that publication, I think a lot of your hurdles, uh, they become easy for PhDs and postdoc. I think if you're backed by good publication, you will definitely land up a job in PhD or as a postdoc quite easily, as compared to the scenarios that I've discussed. So I think this how I end my talk, and thank you everyone for listening. It was great talking to you, giving you a brief overview of clinical trials, what are different careers opportunities in clinical trials, and if any one of you is thinking of having a career abroad, I hope I have helped a bit. I'm very reachable, you can send me a message on LinkedIn. And I do get a lot of messages on LinkedIn, but if you can just give me, just instead of saying hi, hello, if you can just give me your background, what you are currently doing, I would be happy to help, and hope this has given you some knowledge on clinical trials, what decentralized trials are, and if you're pursuing an opportunity abroad, I hope I've given you some enlightenment in that perspective as well. So thank you very much. Thank you again for having me. Thank you, Patil ma'am, for inviting me. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to take those questions.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing a wide, excellent experience and thoughtful insight talk. Your talk gives us some motivation and enlighten our students about the decentralized clinical area. And a brief, sir has said, the patient is the heart of everything. Now the session is open for the discussion and the questioning. Anyone have a question? Just put your questions in the chat box. I again repeat, anyone have a question?
Hi, please don't be afraid of asking me anything. And again, if you have any other questions, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Um, and yeah, sorry.
Hello, Dr. Jagdish. Please accept my compliments for presenting the wonderful talk. And really, it is a great opportunity for us also to learn many things from your the presentation. In fact, the question instead of question, it's something that you can throw the light on the certain points. That is what I'm expecting. That is the certificate programs which are there in India related to that of the clinical trials one.
Mhm.
The whether that type of the certificate programs will definitely help the students to be there in the global, you may say that of the scenario, or something more is required.
No, I think those certificate programs definitely help. And as I just said, those programs, they need to be accredited. There are a lot of these online programs that are happening, and they definitely help. Not just help, I would say it's almost. I would say if you want to have, if you're a B Farm, M Farm, unless and until you're doing an M Farm in pharmacy practice in clinical pharmacy, then you already have a 2 years masters in clinical pharmacy, then you don't need this program. But suppose someone from pharmacology, or even someone from QA chemistry wants to pursue a career in clinical trials, I would definitely strongly suggest do this PG diploma course, do this certificate course. Make sure they are from accredited, they are given by well-known institute. And I think the quality of instructors is important as well. And the trend that I've seen is not trend, but students do this course just for the sake of doing this course, and just to add it on the CV that I have a certificate, I have done this course. But what's really important and what's really necessary is to get knowledge, like what really clinical. I'm just not saying for clinical trials, but any other certificate course you do, you just don't do a course to put it in in your CV and you have a certificate. Just try and really get and understand what the course is. Yes, to answer shortly, these PG diploma certificates, they are really important. They help you a lot.
Okay. Thank you very much. And one more question. This is on the behalf of participant only because sometimes it happened the people are reluctant to put the questions. One, I know that
Yeah.
the wise people can answer the questions, and probably the question may be a very simple one.
Yeah.
And this is what I wanted to say, that what is the scenario of pharmacy practice or the clinical trial that you find in India, whether the wonderful opportunities will be provided to them in the you may say that of the after the pandemic era I'm talking about.
Yes, I think what in India I have seen when I started my career in TCS. There were clinical data management and pharmacovigilance. They were two upcoming things, and I think in India at the moment, these two sectors are booming a lot. There is a lot of opportunities, and a lot of big CROs and even pharma companies like Novartis. Students must be aware they have this pharmacovigilance clinical data management centers in India. So these are two sectors. I think the scope is immense, and also in overall in clinical trials, what I see, we work with a lot of hospitals, we work with a lot of sites in India, even in global clinical trials. I mean, it's not good to say, but the disease burden in certain areas is quite high in India. Suppose diabetes, so many people are diabetic. So for pharmaceutical companies, it's a very ideal country to run a clinical trial because so many people are diabetic in India. So many people have cardiovascular disease. So the scope is immense. There's a lot of clinical trials that are happening and that will happen in the future.
Thank you, Jagdish.
Uh, Sir, there is a question from participants here. What are the primary advantages of decentralized clinical trial over the traditional site-based trial, particularly in the context of the UK healthcare system?
So primary advantage, as I mentioned, I think it's just very patient centric, as you said and I said as well during the presentation. Is the patient is at the heart. A whole clinical trial can be run by the patient sitting at home. So the comfort, convenience of the patient is there, and then the chances of recruitment and retention of the participant in the clinical trial is way more. So, and I would say this just wouldn't apply to UK. This would apply globally. Even if you tell someone in India that you enroll into a clinical trial and you don't want to go to hospital ever, I think the patient will the chances of patient enrolling into a trial is quite high. So yeah, patient comfort, convenience is the advantage.
I hope the idea is clear.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, someone has just asked me for my LinkedIn. If you can just search Jagdish Mahale, I will pop up in LinkedIn. So I'm happy to connect with you all in LinkedIn.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. It was a nice to hear you. And thank you, participants, for your interesting interaction session. Now, I would like to now I would like to request Dr. This is S.D. Patil ma'am to share a concluding remark about the topic and offer a virtual certificate to Dr. Jagdish Mahale Sir as a token of love and appreciation. Please, ma'am. Over to
Thank
you.
you, Jagdish. Thank you for accepting our invitation. In
No,
spite of your busy schedule, you immediately gave me the consent कि you are ready to deliver the talk. This talk was very, very important for the students who are coming in this area. It is motivating also. Thank you for touring us in the clinical trial world, how the conventional thing happens and how the decentralization is important, how the hybrid things will work, and how they will cut the cost, how they will increase the recruitment of the patients pool, and it will overcome whatever the difficulties which are happening.
yes,
Also wearable devices, telemedicines, and especially you have highlighted the people, they go abroad, they took the education taking the high amount of the loan and repayment is not possible. So this is also the thought provoking they should think on, and accordingly they can prepare their roadmap, what to do and all those things. Of course, pandemic has taught us a lot, so the hybrid mode will definitely be the useful one.
Yes.
And thank you. This lecture will be useful advantages for all our students. They will prepare accordingly. They will opt for certain courses,
Yes.
additional courses, valued courses are very, very important. So at
Absolutely.
the end, anyone who stops learning is called as a old person, whether 20 or 80. And anyone who keeps learning stays young. And if
Yes.
they want to be a young, they have to learn lot many things. And definitely this lecture will be helpful for them for their next career. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
thank, Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, sir. On behalf of Dr. C.R. Patil, sir, the felicitations right in there. Yeah. We know
Thank
that
you.
we know that expressing vote of thanks is a respectful way to express a gratitude towards a dignitaries. So now I request Mr. Imtiaz Ansari, sir, the coordinator of the event, to please extend his views and conclude this event with a vote of thanks. Please, sir. Over to
Thank you, madam. Respected dignitaries, dear participants, I, Imtiaz Ansari, feel very fortunate to present a vote of thanks on behalf of our institute on this occasion of Alumni Power Talk. All of you will agree that expressing vote of thanks is a respectful way to express the gratitude towards the dignitaries. Yes, the words would be less meaningful for the today's speaker. Dr. Jagdish Mahale Sir spoke about the decentralized clinical trials and career scope in UK. This talk provided us with the information regarding the basics of clinical trial, which will be helpful to our students who are looking for the job in the field of clinical trial. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir, for sparing your valuable time and expert talk. I would like to express my gratitude to our principal, respected Dr. H.J. Surana sir, Dr. Nitin Haswani sir, for guidance. Thank you, sir, for your support to organize this event. I would like to thank our Vice Principal, respected Dr. Atul sir, for gracing this event with his presence. I express my gratitude to our driving force, respected Dr. C.R. Patil sir and respected Dr. S.D. Patil madam, for motivation and guidance for the organization of Alumni Power Talk series. A special thanks to my colleague Amrapali Madam, Dr. Kalpesh Patil sir, for their efforts and assistance in organization of this event. I would like to thank all my colleagues, especially Pankaj Jain sir, Ujwal Katolkar, Manish Agrani, Vivek Komawat, Arshada Patil, Sonali Chauhan, and Hemakshi Chaudhary Madam for their constant support and help. I appreciate the active involvement of the participants for this event. I am thankful to all of you, dear participants. Lastly, I am thankful to all those who are directly or indirectly involved in the organization of this event. I request all the participants to please like and subscribe our YouTube channel RCP Pharmacology and visit our website for updates of our department. Please stay tuned with our WhatsApp group where we will share the feedback link and keep you updated about the future event in this Alumni Power Talk series. Thank you once again. Thank you all.
thank you, respected Ansari, sir. So now, with the kind permission of the dignitaries, I declare the session is over.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank
Thank,
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you.
please like, share, and subscribe our YouTube channel. Stay tuned with us. See you soon in the next Alumni Power Talk series. Until then, have a wonderful day. Goodbye. Take care.
Thank you, madam.